Hello, everyone, and welcome on this Sunday afternoon, summer Sunday afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us today. Right now, I'm waiting for my co-pilots, as someone would say, to arrive. We have one.
Good.
Hello,
That, we're good. We're good. Very good.
how are you?
All right. I wanted you to drop the link. I tried to send it in my email because you texted it to me, but yeah.
The link is there.
Huh?
I figured there was a problem with the email.
I'm good. I'm good.
I have not heard from TheGuild this morning, so I'm not sure what's going on.
Well, you just have to keep going if he drops in. Hopefully. Dindo, are you there, buddy boy?
And I see my troll is here.
Um, well, we can't. I can't knock anything out. So
Yeah, I know.
because we're screen, you know.
Oh, here we go. Wait, what's going on here? I see he's trying to come in. It says devices not
Yeah.
connected.
He'll try again. He'll get there. You
There
go.
we go.
Sometimes it does that. Sometimes, yeah.
Never
Hello.
call me out.
No, can't see you, but
You're really dark, dude. You're really
see you.
dark there.
I don't have Dito. Give me a second. I'm
All right.
not ready.
Okay.
No emergencies, buddy.
Fine.
No rush.
I'm just sipping some tea while we wait.
I'm having a Bud Light, so
That's okay. While we're waiting, I'll show you my T-shirt here.
you bet you're bocce balls. Yanni, how do you think of that?
I got this, and I got the sticks. This down in Wildwood playing bocce
Did you?
over there. Yeah, they
Really?
they have a local club there, and if you play, you get one of these. You pay to play, you get one of these shirts. $20. I said, well, give me one. Definitely, give me one. So,
Incredible. I'm muting myself because there was a horn going off. So.
okay, yeah. All right, well, hello, Ubatsu.
What's going down? Hey, Andre Fratali, don't ever question why ALV's with Dindu. I'm the muscle around here. Don't forget. Okay?
It's too funny. So I just want to lay out the structure for today real quick. This freaking hold on a second here.
PT, love you.
So basically what we're going to do today, folks, is we're going to talk about the opening scene of the original Godfather movie, and we're going to stick to only that scene today. This will be the first of a series on this as we go through the movie scene by scene. And we're going to talk about the cultural aspects, really. It's not really about the mob at all. That's not the goal here. And if you watch the movie, you realize that that really isn't the goal of the movie. So as we go through it, we welcome comments in the chat, and we'll go from there. So let me see something. I have stills from this, but I was having problems pulling it up on here. It's not that we need it, but
It's nice to have it.
I'm having issues though. For some reason, it's not coming up.
Now showing it, you can't show the clip, huh?
Yeah, but I'm gonna put my fan on here. All right. Well, anyway, let's start by describing. Let's describe the opening scene. For those of you who have seen it, the opening scene begins when in Don Corleone's study, and it begins with a shot of a man's face. And the man's face is an individual by the name of Amerigo Bonacera, and he is the local undertaker in that area. And he's there on the day of this wedding. He's invited to the wedding of the Don's daughter, and he's going to take this opportunity to ask for a favor from Don Corleone. So there's several aspects of just that alone that strike me, and I don't know what I did. I had notes, but I don't know what the hell I did with them. But anyway, I can remember them. So we have the situation where it's an Italian-American wedding happening, and more so an Italian wedding than an Italian-American wedding. It's an Italian-American wedding because they're in America, but there's so many aspects of that wedding that is purely Italian, and we'll talk about that at a future episode. But one of the distinct Sicilian customs is that the father of the bride would grant gifts to attendees, and this goes beyond Sicilian. It goes on through all Italians, because I remember specifically when tales of when my parents got married. My grandfather arranged for a specific gift for every table to take home with them, because that was the custom that he brought with him from Italy, which was that you attend the wedding, you walk away with a gift. So let's start with that.
Wow.
Have you guys encountered anything like that in your backgrounds?
You got to. Who do you want? Me, Dean, do?
Go ahead.
Yeah, Stiggs, you could
For
go
me?
first. You
I
go
don't
first,
know.
and then we'll go to Thinu.
I would say not specific to that, but I'm guessing
Mm-hmm.
favors came from that.
The
Table
favor
favor.
would be the gift
Yeah,
here. Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Yes, so that's what we do.
Yep.
We do a table favor for
Mhm.
that for the wedding. So that's the marriage of that. Yeah,
Right.
definitely. I don't know if everybody does favors. I don't think just as in Italians do it. I'm pretty sure.
No,
many
yeah,
do.
it's
We-
more than that, but I think it was more of a requirement. A lot of people do it, but it was more of a requirement in the Italian culture. You got to have favors. It was just how it went. Thinu, what do you think?
Well, as far as the whole wedding, absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
2 weddings. One, all 7 of us got rings, the same rings.
Nice.
We were all Goombas for life.
Mm-hmm.
Grew up together. The next one, I got a watch from another wedding, and it had our initials and West Side on it,
Wow.
where we came from. I'm not saying, well, yeah, I am. I mean, that's what Sicilians do.
Mhm.
They give their favors to their stand-ins. So,
Right.
those are the 2 biggest highlights and gifts that I got from my culture as we are talking about.
Sure.
So
I
it's
still have one. I
similar.
should have brought. If I knew we were talking about the gifts, I would have brought them out. You.
Oh,
I
it's
could've
okay.
told you.
No, we don't.
It's a beautiful gold watch,
Yeah.
like from the late '80s. Gold, black, the diamond with my name. It's so cool. And the ring, like I said, another thing it exemplified. We had a W and S, West Side
Nice.
Right.
ring. So
So that bounces off the culture. That bounces off the.
Yeah, absolutely.
it's where you come from. It's where
Yeah.
you originated.
Excellent. That's excellent.
Yep.
Yeah. So in this context, right, the Undertaker is coming to ask for a favor, and the Don is going to grant the favor as a gift to him. That's going to be his gift. So and we see that as we go through the scene. That's how the scene ends up, basically, where the Don will say, "Accept this as a gift on my daughter's wedding day." So it's the metaphor of the gifts that individuals get, but it's on a broader context, and it's also specific to the whole backdrop of what's going on here, which is the next thing I want to talk about is this individual coming to someone in his own community looking for justice. That's what he's looking for. That's why he's there. He's there because he did not find justice in the American system at that point. The American criminal justice system did not provide him with justice he thought he was entitled to. So what does he do? As so many others in our culture have done when they came to America, and even when they were back in the old country, they went to someone else for justice when the government was not there for them. The society, the norms of society were not there, so they went elsewhere. What do you think about that?
Yep. Many have done throughout the years come to these types of guys, not just on the wedding day, but for that
Mm-hmm.
type of thing. So everything that you're saying about that scene carries over into our regular lives.
Right.
Many of us legit guys calling in a favor. It's that whole thing right there. What what bounced off of that is everything we go through. My son needs a union job. My cousin needs his air conditioning fixed. It seems like it all carries over into legitimate life. That just happened to be an extreme request,
Sure. Right.
but
Right.
I think it just led to a lot more, a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You wonder if that scene was taken from, you know, I don't know, from life in general and added to the criminal aspect of it.
Right.
Because
Right.
we have
I
been
think it
doing
is.
favors for each other as Italians before 1970, whatever two it was, right? Whatever year.
Right.
We as Italian Americans have been helping each other since we've come here, get
Mm-hmm.
jobs, get a union job, get a cop job, get a
Right.
fireman job, get whatever it is, and yeah. So I think it's real in our culture in many ways.
Mm-hmm. Dean do.
To make everybody hear and everybody understand this a lot better for when they watch it. It is the epitome of the Sicilian culture. I'm going to try to make this fast. That
Mhm.
opening scene has 50 different entrances to it. Now, he's not just a regular civilian Bonacera.
Right.
Bonacera is family. The Godfather's wife is his kid's godmother.
Right.
That's family. Let's
Right.
end that right there. He's not a civilian. He's family. When all else fails, you go right to why this organization was formed,
Right.
for people,
Mhm.
not for nobody else, not for nothing.
Right.
So, and as it breaks down, for that part should be in the dictionary under instant satisfaction and instant karma. When you
Mhm.
can't get it the right way, you get it the wrong way. And that's
Right.
exactly what he did. He went to his Goomba watch. He didn't make it easy for him. You haven't been in here in years. You
Yeah.
don't even call me Godfather. But he still did it for him. Why? That's what they do.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting you bring up the point of
Hmm.
Bonacera is closer than anybody else. Now, on this day, the Godfather is he's giving out these favors anyway, but
Anyway,
Bonacera is closer because he's his, like you said, his wife,
family.
yeah, his daughter is the Godfather's wife's goddaughter. So
That's it.
so they already know. So the Godfather already knows about this. They've already heard about it. Obviously, they know about it. And they're watching. He's watching from a distance, and he's kind of hurt that he didn't come to him first. And right, we hear him say that.
Bingo.
Why didn't you come to me
Bingo.
first?
Bingo.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I would have
But
been the same way.
eh,
I would have said, you haven't came here in years to see me. And now you're asking me for a fucking favor? You know,
Mm-hmm.
on the day my daughter's getting,
Yeah.
married. I mean, that takes a set of balls to go in there and ask for that too.
but he,
Okay. That could work both ways on you. That could be as a yes, like he got, or it could be get the fuck out of here before I, do you.
he was accepting it, just like us when we don't speak to some guys we know for 6 months, 8 months, a year, and we pick up the phone just like we hung up yesterday. So I think that's kind of the relationship they had. But he had to teach him a little bit of a lesson, and
Yeah.
kind of push it in a little bit, like stay in touch now. I'm going to do this for you, but you got to do the right thing now going forward. Basically,
Right.
give him a
Now,
pass. Basically,
now it's interesting too. The whole the whole meaning, I think, of this opening scene is also something. It also demonstrates something that Stiggs has brought up many times before in just random talking and about how the Italians, as they came to America, they bought into America. And Bonacera says this. He says, I came to America. I raised my child as an American. In other words, the Italians wanted to be Americans. They wanted, the ones that came here wanted it so bad. They wanted to become Americans. So he's going to go the route of the justice system first, because he sees himself as an American now. I'm going to go the route of the justice system, even though he finds out in the end it didn't work out for him. But that was his first instinct. And so many of us, we saw so many of that in their culture, where my grandfather, for example, would every holiday would have the American flag out. It was so important to him to have the American flag out on Veterans Day, on anything, any type of American holiday, 4th of July, it was so important. They came here with a passion to be Americans. Now, and this is not a political thing. I'm just describing what I'm not, and it's, hold on. Thing dude just popped out. He's coming back. It's not a political thing in the sense of what's going on today. I'm just describing of the Italian culture that we grew up with. They came here to be Americans. They wanted to be Americans, and we see that.
It's true. It is true. They did want to be that. And he can't fault them for it, because he didn't know the system wasn't going to work for him. So that was in addition to many of the reasons that he gave him a pass on what you might call disrespect. Orders, he tried to be American, full-fledged. You just said 100% American, and it didn't work. So
he did not.
When they came here,
go ahead.
When many Sicilians and Italians came here, law enforcement was not trusted.
Right.
And I have to go into the crime part for a quick second. Cosa Nostra was created because of prejudice and stuff like that. So there was no trust for the American justice system on the part, especially of a criminal.
Right.
Take it to the regular citizen. He hasn't been through it yet. Now he unfortunately goes through this mess when his daughter's wired up,
Yeah, and for those of you that, I'm sure most people do know, but for those of you who don't know, the whole background is that his daughter, who he raised as an American, he says this, I raised her in the American way. So he doesn't protest when she goes out on dates. He doesn't protest things that they would normally protest, that the boy didn't come and speak to him, all these things he doesn't protest about. And because of that, it ends up, she gets beaten up by the boyfriend and her friend because she would not submit to them, to the sexual favors that they wanted to. And they beat her up to the point where she's in the hospital. Now, this is an interesting point for those of you who haven't read the book. The book itself starts out. This is not the opening scene in the book. The opening scene in the book is in the courtroom when those two individuals are being sentenced. That's how the book opens up. Right. And it's really interesting because it talks about how Bonacera is standing there. He sees what's happening, and how he's using his years as an undertaker to control his emotions. All those years of dealing with bad news and everything, to control his emotions. And he does it as the two boys walk by him. They get their suspended sentence, by the way, which is bizarre to me. At that time period, this is 1945. A suspended sentence for putting a woman in the hospital it goes to another issue, which is the prejudice towards Italians. That's what that goes to. Absolutely. Yeah, and I knew you were going to say that, Sticks, but that's where that's going. That's where that's coming from, or hitting on.
Wow. Daniel, what do you think, man? That's crazy.
No, exactly. You got to look at it this way, too. Good and bad. That's what made that world go around. Mm-hmm. He wasn't blaming him for being good, because that's what made them guys look good. You had to have legitimate business owners around you, or you were done.
Right.
We all know that. So, that's what makes that world go around, good and bad. Mm-hmm. Capability of doing something and not being able to doing something. Instant gratification, satisfaction. So,
right.
So do you think in that part then that Corleone and people like that were already ahead of the curve of what was to come, which was going to be prejudice? Ahead of the curve already.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Knew about it. They knew about it.
And
Yeah.
then the regular folks, Italian folks, would find out one day that it's a real thing.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I
that's a-
think he sees that, right? He sees that he comes to America as a child, an orphan child, and this is later on, but he comes to America as an orphan child, and they don't really get into that in the movies, but the prejudice that he grows up with, trying to survive as a child that comes here, they change his name. They change his name. That's not his name. They assign him a different name when he comes to the country.
Yeah, so you're basically irrelevant. Just pass through. That's it.
Yeah.
There's so many stories of them, their names getting changed,
Right.
shortened, all the way around.
Absolutely.
They were just trying to make it easy to say. That's all they were trying to do. The Sicilian and Italian people were only trying to make it easier, for the people to say their name.
See, at Ellis Island, they were just processing people. They didn't give it.
It was numbers. It was numbers.
Right.
The country, listen, the bottom line is the country needed people. That's why they were processing them. They needed the workforce. They needed them. Let's get these people in here. Let's get them to work. That's all they wanted. It wasn't a humanitarian thing. It wasn't, let's be open and everything. No, it was it was a need. The country needed the workforce. That's how it came down.
Stuff needed to be built.
Yeah.
We needed a church built. We needed a skyline built. We needed a skyscraper built.
Right.
Yeah.
So Bonacera, and in the book, Bonacera is standing there and he holds himself down. And then it's only when the parents come by. Now, this is interesting. The parents of the boys are there, and the parents of the boys follow them out of the courtroom, and they come by Bonacera, and they look at him, and they're described as having some shame on their face, but they also he notices a certain contempt in their look as they look at him. And at that point, he explodes. And at that point, that's the contempt that the American had for the Italian immigrant at that point. Like, they look at him like, how dare you think you're going to put our children in jail?
Yeah.
How dare you going to do that to us? And he explodes on them, and he screams out in the courtroom, I will make you suffer the way I suffer. And that's the precursor to him going to Don Corleone. I will make you weep the way I weep. He screams at them in the courtroom.
This is the book going to the movie. All of this is lost in the movie because it'd have been a 15-hour movie. Based on some of the
and you got to remember,
scene that you're pointing this out.
Bonacera, like I said from the get-go here, Bonacera ain't just a civilian. He's family.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
When he wanted, again, that instant gratification, what did the Godfather tell him? Think about it.
Your
daughter's still alive.
Yes, right. He wanted, right.
He granted him that wish because he was family.
Right.
If anybody else was in there saying that and their daughter was still alive, that would have never went. That would have never flew, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Being Bonacera, family, now you go to the next extreme.
So let me ask you a question. So, Dean, did you read the book or no? You never read it. I never read it.
Stiggs, I read it. I couldn't remember. Are you kidding me?
Oh, my God.
Anthony's reminding me of it.
Okay.
Not like the movie, you know.
Because I can see you're having the understanding, so you must have read it way back.
Yeah. I know what he's absolutely.
So let me ask you a question. Did they? We didn't hear the death request in the movie.
He whispers it. He whispers it.
In the book, is it written?
No, it's whispered. He whispers as well in the book. Same thing.
Just curious.
If the Godfather don't say that, you don't know what he asked him.
Exactly. That's why I was wondering if it was clearly explained in the book or not.
No.
I don't think so.
Now, it's interesting because when he comes and does the whispering in his ear, in the book, it describes it, and I guess you see this in the scene in the movie itself. It describes Don Corleone as distant as he's whispering it and looking straight ahead as if he is a priest at a confessional. That's how they describe him in Hearing Bonacera, in the sense that to begin with, he's pissed because Bonacera hasn't paid him with the respect to begin with. He hasn't been around, even though they're family. He hasn't been around. He's pissed. So, but he doesn't get mad. The Godfather doesn't get mad. He's just treating him coldly, treating him
Yes.
indifferent, as if a priest behind a screen is listening to a
Yes.
stranger's confessions.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's
it's
good way to
like
put it.
that. It's like that instant power.
Mm-hmm.
He's
That's-
asking him, you know,
Right.
he already knows the story, but he wants to hear everything out of his mouth. You know, it's that instant power he has right there.
Absolutely.
You're breaking it
Right.
apart beautifully, man. That's awesome.
Yep. Yep.
This is good. This is a
He's the
good.
Godfather.
This is a good deep dive into this.
Well, you got three guys that know what the fuck they're talking about. That's
Well, I'm
the
just
problem
saying,
here.
what the detail aspect of it being pulled out is awesome, and when we discuss
Oh,
it,
right.
it really puts it all, right there. It's good.
Listen, we
Right.
got 25 people listening to us on a Sunday
We have that
afternoon.
many?
Of
Oh my
course.
God.
It's interesting.
Well,
It's
We
interesting
promoted
stuff.
it. We promoted it, so
So
Plus, they're
this is
interested.
this is a nuance, but I wanted to bring it up. When Bonacera starts describing what happened to his daughter, now he describes her jaw is broken and put together with wire, and he begins to tear up and gets emotional. And what does the Godfather do at that point? He sees this happening in front of him. He motions to Sonny to give
Yep.
him a drink, and he comes
Yep.
with a little thing of anisette and puts
Yep.
it down in front of him. And that struck me so much. It's such a family thing. Like in my house growing up, like there was so much. When someone would come over, my grandfather would immediately, or my grandmother would immediately get out the bottle of anisette with the little shot
Get the
glass. Here
liquor,
you go.
yep.
And
Yep.
it was such a cultural moment for me when I saw that.
that's great. Well, he was
Every-
kind of pissed, but he wanted to make him calm at the same time.
Yes.
Well, that was like a tranquilizer for Bonacera, ease him down a little bit because
Yes.
he understands Bonacera's pain.
Mm-hmm.
That's
You
great.
know, and I remember every Sunday, ALV, my nana would go and get that goddamn bourbon bottle out or the anisette. Uncle Sam and Uncle Nick would sit at and it was just normal. You
Yes.
know, ALV, it was, and they didn't,
Yep.
it wasn't like they were drinking to get drunk. It was just what they
No.
did. Yes.
Had nothing to do with getting drunk or nothing at all.
Nothing.
About that. Nothing.
Nothing. Right.
All right, good.
But the bottom line is, I never seen Nana do a shot.
No,
That was the best thing. She got the bottle. She
Yeah.
took care of the men,
Yeah.
and that was
Yep.
it. She went back to cooking, and then talking.
Right.
Yup. Amazing.
So Bonacera, he whispers into the Godfather's ear. We find out through the Godfather that he is, he's asking for him to kill these boys or men, and he says, no, that's not justice. So let's talk about the justice part of this, right? He is a man of honor. He's not a murderer. He's not a murderer, right? In the sense that he's just not going to kill someone because you ask him to. He's not going to do that. There has to be something that he believes in before he orders the death, or he orders someone to take care of this. So he says, that's not justice. Your daughter is still alive. It's not justice. So
Right.
it's an eye for an eye in the culture. Not, you don't one up. You don't, okay, they did this, so now I'm going to kill them. No, they beat her bad, so we're going to put them in the hospital.
Exactly.
And that's
Exactly.
common, I think, in our culture for the most part. I grew up with that kind of an eye for an eye type of mentality.
Right. You're right, ALV. I mean, that's the whole meaning of it all. I mean, okay. Now, I'm going to go one deep. Has
Mhm.
anybody had that instant gratification in life? Has anybody had that?
Not
We
me.
call the
I don't-
people things, but
Well, let me tell
Not
you something.
in-
At the end of the
I can
day,
tell you, not in legitimate life, no.
Right.
In,
right.
in other-
I know Sticks.
Yeah.
I'm not talking here and now.
in legitimate, no, I never had to do it because nobody ever violated anybody I knew like that. If they would have, I can guarantee you it would have definitely happened.
Mhm.
For any of us, all the three of us right here,
Sure.
and
Sure.
90% of the chat, it would, yes, it would. It did. Fortunately, it did not have to happen.
Well, when it happens, at the end of the day, you're the proudest man in the world.
Right.
But you might not be going straight up after that.
Yeah.
You gotta
Yeah, there's
watch
a
your
cost.
P's and
There's a-
Q's. You
there's-
gotta watch
there's-
your P's
Yeah.
and fucking Q's when you
Yeah.
get instant karma here, gentlemen.
Yeah.
I'm not condoning nothing.
Right.
I'm only talking.
It's
So
real. It's real. So I could see it happening. Definitely. It didn't, but I could see
I
it.
will see.
Mhm.
Yep.
Right.
So, I mean, there's nothing like it.
And and in response to that, he says, now this is another interesting part. And I think that this is intentional. I think he's named Bonacera for a reason, because
Yeah.
I'm sure you've encountered this. My grandfather used to say this all the time, Bonacera, Bonacera. It's an expression, Bonacera.
Yeah.
Like when he was, like, good night to this.
Yeah.
And that just fits perfectly with the scene. He's like,
Does.
because he's disgusted with him, right? He's disgusted with
No.
Bonacera. You're treating me like, treating me with such disrespect.
Yep.
Good night to this type of thing.
That's real.
Yeah. And then,
Can you imagine thinking that deep into making this movie that
Oh,
the
yeah.
name goes
Yeah.
with the scene just like that?
right.
Right.
With the phrase that you're saying, with the
Yeah.
expression that you're calling it?
Yeah.
Wow.
You got to remember,
It's amazing.
this was one of the first kind of that movie where you got that much culture.
Culture.
Oh, yeah.
You know
Absolutely.
that. I mean, look what
Yeah.
they did during the filming of that.
Mhm.
I mean, in New York,
Look how good it was that we're 33 whatever minutes in and we didn't even talk crime.
I know,
No.
yeah, wait.
No.
It's great.
I mean, it's easy to do. It's culture.
Wow.
I mean, what the fuck? These people don't know what the culture is.
Mhm.
Without us, they don't know what the culture is. They only know what the crime is.
Oh, the
I mean,
crime
come
is the exciting stuff, right? That's what people are
Right.
interested in. That's the sexy
Well,
stuff.
Right.
Overall, in a Goodfellas type, in this, they love the cultural aspect of this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right.
The crime is secondary, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Right.
think the greatest
No, I
movie
think you're
ever
right.
done.
I think you're right on that.
Yeah.
This is, and even I remember even people in the chat like Gerard was saying that this is The Godfather is about honor and about the honor around it, like the honor, the code of honor that was there is a big theme throughout the entire movie.
Oh,
You know?
amazing.
That's the way it was.
Amazing.
They kept that theme and that narrative there in The Godfather. You don't
Right.
rat. You don't
Mhm.
sell nobody out. You don't deal in drugs. You don't do this. You
Right.
don't do that. That was the original. The original.
Absolutely. Now the other another point that I wanted to bring up on this. So The Godfather, he says you never come to. Well, I can't remember the last time I was invited for a cup of coffee. Now, how important is that in the Italian culture to be to just be invited to come by and have a cup of coffee? That was big. People.
That's that old saying, Tindu goes, they forget where they come from. Some friends disappear. They don't come around. Hey, did you forget about all the times you were dragging on my belt buckle? You no good piece of shit. That's what The Godfather wanted to tell them. Did you forget about the boat ride over with me? Did you forget about how we got started? You didn't come around no more. Ancora che questo faito.
Yeah.
But like you said, he wanted to let him know that he was pissed.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
And
So they're
that's
not
how
coming
those-
over for a cup of coffee. I mean, every night somebody was at my mother's house for a cup of coffee.
Absolutely.
It was somebody, and to take it into the Hollywood world, as Sebastian does it in his stand-up, the cake was always there. It makes it funny.
The
but
intimate's cake. Yes.
It was
Yeah.
always there. There was always a
Yeah.
cup of coffee and intimate cake.
Yeah.
It's very big in our culture to have somebody over. Now, as people go into suburbs, neighborhoods change, all of that stuff, it changes, obviously. But back in the day, we all lived in the same neighborhoods. There was always somebody having coffee.
Mhm.
And that's the difference because, like you just said, back in the day,
You might have proofs.
when you come out of the house and you see that, you're like, there they go, the coffee club, they're getting together. Could you imagine? Now, today, Tindu's all alone. I'm with you guys. Could you imagine after the show, you got about 5, 6 cars pull up, 3 Cadillacs pull up at my house. We're going to have coffee today. Could you imagine the stigmatization that would go around my neighborhood right now?
Not gonna
Look
work
at
in the
that
suburbs.
mob meeting. Look at that mob meeting going down
Yeah.
over at the.
Yeah.
Not
Right.
gonna work. No.
Right.
Okay, they would be like, "Oh my God, what the fungus going down over there?"
But-
There's
He really nailed it with that because that is a true thing.
Mhm.
okay, Stiggy, you can't do nothing.
It's true. It's true. But
No,
the way he said, you never invited me to your house for it's real.
Yeah.
that's right.
Such a
Right.
simple thing meant so much.
Yes, exactly. That's the main point. It's so small. It's such a small gesture, and it meant so much to him that he carried it with him. And at this point, he's going to make sure he knows that. He's going to make sure he does it. And then the scene kind of rounds up with him. Bonacera asks him, in shame, and you see the shame in his face. He bows his head in shame and says, you know, will you be my friend? Basically recommitting to being his friend. Be my friend, God. And then he says, Godfather. And then that's the key. That's the key that opens the door to the favor, because he recommitted himself. He's reborn. And that's another thing. That's the forgiveness side of our culture.
Yes.
Being Catholic predominantly, and even being Christian in general, forgiveness is very important. And as long as and forgiveness is not forgive, when you continue to be a piece of garbage. It's forgiveness when you commit to changing. And at that point, he has changed. He has said, I be my friend, and he calls him Godfather.
Yeah.
Christopher Toro, Dean already said that one. You're
Interesting.
right. And
Thank
another
you.
thing, it leaves the audience and the American public like this.
Because
This is all over a fucking cup of coffee. Because
so
he
sorry
That's-
isn't sorry unless you're dedicated to change for the
Yes.
action that you took.
right. And that's all it took was a cup of coffee to please the old man. That's it. Come over, have a cup of coffee. That's all. That's all they wanted.
But he did understand the
Wow.
flaw in decision to go to the, you came to this country in the court of law and the whole speech. And he knew he was forgiving him. But he had
Godfathers know that, Tommy. Godfathers know that. You're going to get your answer like that with them.
Yeah, so he had a.
They're going to play with you.
Yeah,
believe me, those guys will play with you.
He had to do it like that, but that was perfect.
Yeah. So, and then he says, and then this is the interesting part, is he's walking him to the door. Someday I may call on you. Someday I may call on you to do me a favor or service. Right. So that's another thing that's in this culture. We expect, we do favors. We expect the favors to be returned. We don't, it's not like you don't accept money for it. You don't accept money. All we accept is if we need you in the future, you would be there for us. That's what we expect. We don't expect money. We don't want, because he asks, how many times does he ask, how much should I pay you? And every time he asks that, it's more of an insult to the God.
Yeah.
And that's how we do things today. That's this parlayed into our culture, or the scene was a take of our culture that we do ask for favors. We all do this.
Mm-hmm.
We don't.
No, exactly.
We do sincerely do things for each other without really expecting anything in return.
Right.
It was an extreme case. We do it hoping that we do it silently, and hopefully one day, we know culturally we may call you back one day.
Right.
They just had to put it there so it's understood, so that the culture is understood.
Right.
We do this naturally. Many of
Right.
our friends do this naturally, right? They do same everywhere. The Italian culture, we do favors for each other. We don't expect it in return because we know it's coming back.
Right.
But he had to say it to explain it to the public, to the world.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
He was explaining our culture and how we do things for each other in that one sentence.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Incredible.
Yeah. No, it's an incredibly deep movie. I mean, just think about it. This is one scene. It's 10 minutes long, and we have talked about it for 41 seconds, and we haven't repeated anything. It's all new stuff. It's all new stuff.
Amazing.
Imagine what the people are going to get out of this.
Yes.
This show today. I mean, this is personified information. Like I said, 3/4 of them don't even know what the movie was about. let alone
One scene, 45 minutes.
that's
Amazing.
it.
Yeah.
I know.
Now, we haven't been paying attention to the chat, so I apologize.
I
But,
know, but
but this is, it's really about our discussion between the three of us. You know, feel free to leave comments and stuff. But Gerard brings up something. I just noticed this about
Gotcha.
how
Go
do
to the
we
chat.
think that the Godfather, the fact that the Undertaker asked the Godfather to murder was an insult, and it shows that the Undertaker assumed he was a flat out killer.
oh
No.
wow, that's good.
But you know what, too? You got to watch
That's
that.
good. That's a good observation, Gerard.
When something happens to you like that,
Yeah.
you don't have to be a killer to want instant gratification, especially
Yes.
when it's your kids. Okay.
But he did
You
take
don't
it.
have to be a killer. You're looking
Yeah.
for revenge. Okay.
Right.
We just
If you-
talked about this.
If you have the benefit of the scene in the book, you walk away from reading that, and you appreciate that he's going for justice. It's clearly he's going for justice is what he's going for. He's not just going to hire someone to kill someone. He's going for justice. He's going to Don Corleone for justice. This is the only way I'm going to get what should be. The only way I'm going to get to happen what should have happened. And he wasn't going to be killed. They weren't going to be killed in the courtroom. If they were convicted, they were going to get 3 years, right? If they were to carry out their sentence, 3 years in prison. So I don't think it's just. I think Bonacero, by the time he gets to the Godfather, he's been boiling. He's experienced the reaction of the parents. He's experienced the two actors. The two men smile at him as they get off. This is boiling up to the point where now he wants them dead. You know, and this is just a fire in all of us. You know, it burns in us if we don't get justice. You know, it burns in us. So I don't think he just went to. This is just my opinion, obviously, but I don't think he just went there specifically. I'm going to get them killed. The killing came as he was so enraged, and the more he talks about it, he gets more emotional and more emotional, and he needs some type of justice. The system failed me. This is the only way to do it. But the Godfather deals with that because he's used to dealing with that, right? He's there. Aside from the crime aspect of this, he is basically the chieftain, if you want to use old terms, chieftain of that area, of this, and he's there to solve problems. He's there to make life better for his constituents. He's going to make a lot of money in what he does, but he's also going to do this. This is part of the thing. This is part, and the absence of this to me in the modern day, or it's kind of why it went away. Also, they got away to all crime. They got into just crime, period, as opposed to being part of the community and building the community, being that safety valve for the community to get justice when it wasn't there before. So that's just my opinion, obviously, but it's a great point, Gerard. It's a great point.
I can't even add to that. That's perfectly feel the same way, 100%.
Yeah, Adam, no doubt, Adam.
Yeah,
that's instant gratification too, right there. Knowing you could crush somebody. I mean,
so
that's what it's all about.
I think his emotions took over as he went to speak into his ear. You may. I don't know if you're kind of capturing this a little bit, but I don't think he went in there asking for murder. Like you said, his emotions were so high. He took it to the top level of, payback, the top level of retaliation. And that's the ultimate. I don't know if he went in there asking in his brain when he was driving there and walking in there. He wasn't asking for murder, but who knows? That's what I say. But he was asking for the extreme aspect of retaliation.
Right. And just as an aside, they're in the book, just so you know. And I highly recommend everybody read the book. You just should, because it's an easy read. And Tommy, if you don't want to, you have issues with listening, because it's just somebody reading. So it's the actual content of the book. You know that. Right. The book's online. It's the actual content of the book. So,
Gianni has a good one here too. Yeah. Good statement. I'm sorry, ALV.
Well, I'm gonna definitely.
No, go ahead.
Arlene said he didn't. Bonacero didn't want to get in trouble.
Yes.
Damn right. Exactly right. Yeah. You don't want to get in trouble. So your next step up, you give it to the boys, like you did. And just like Gianni says, if he would have tried to do something and failed, the Godfather would have never did a thing for him after that.
Right.
If Bonacero would have attempted to do it on himself or do it himself and failed.
Oh God.
Number one, nobody would have touched that after that. Too much heat.
Yeah.
Already fucked that up.
Yeah.
Right.
Bonacera did the right thing by doing nothing and going right to the top where it was nice and fresh.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And there's an add-on to this scene, right? The scene closes, but it's you know, because the next scene of the movie is the wedding, and we'll do that. I think we'll do the wedding next. That's a huge
Okay.
scene. But
Perfect.
as they're going through the wedding, there's also a flashback where, you know, not a flashback, or just a cut to the Don in his office where he's with Tom Hagen and Sonny, and he's saying, how's he gonna carry this out? How's he gonna carry this favor out? And he says, I want someone who's reliable. We're not murderers. No, regardless of what this undertaker takes. So the contempt is still there, right? The contempt for Bonacera is still there in the Godfather's eyes.
Yes.
He
Even at
says,
the end.
Give
Even
it
when
to
he's gone.
Clemenza. Give
Yeah,
it to
Clemenza,
Clemenza.
trust
We're not
Clemenza.
murderers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So even when he was gone, he was still saying that. It was still.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, he
But
was
still
talking to Tom Hagen. He was
Right.
talking to the lawyer just to tighten up the loose ends.
Yeah.
Right.
But Don Corleone was 100% correct in saying we're not murderers in the true sense of the word. First
Yeah.
degree murder. At that time, the cult,
Right.
that whole organization became a mess, as you said before.
Yeah.
At that time, there was a reason for that. This was an extreme reason, but a valid one.
Mm-hmm.
Not to kill
Right.
them, to hurt them. But
Yes.
you know,
And for those that haven't read the book or don't remember, just as an add-on, the this is carried out by Clemenza's, as you know, it's Clemenza that carries it out. He doesn't do it himself. He gets Paulie Gatto to do it. Paulie, we know Paulie, right? Paulie is the driver of the Godfather, right?
Yes.
That we'll find out later what happens with him, but he's the one that's charged with carrying this out. And they
In the book.
describe the hit. They describe the
book.
beating.
do they
do.
really? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
See? Now look what ALB just did. 99% of the people didn't even know that was in the book or that even happened. They're all going to be going out to get the book now to read it.
You see, we didn't know the outcome. We didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Nobody, you know.
That's wow. This is good that this is really nice. You're adding that to this series that we're doing and clarifying. We're basically reenacting the movie through talk, and you're adding in what is missing.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes.
Because it really is missing. I wouldn't know that.
And to your point, Stiggs, you can't have a 10-hour movie. You can't have a 15-hour movie. So I get why they did what they did, but it's so much, you gain so much more because the movie is not changed from the book. It's the book. It's the important parts of the book, right? But there's all this other stuff in here that just makes it a richer experience if you read the book.
All right. I'm looking forward to doing it. Yeah. Awesome.
So anyway, we've been on for 50 minutes, and I think that kind of sums up because the scene is done. The scene is done. We know where we are. And we had a lot of good back and forth on this. And I appreciate all the comments in the chat, even though we didn't address them specifically. I hope you guys were talking to each other and going back and forth, too.
They were doing good.
Yeah.
Well, in a couple hours, we'll be able to see the
Right.
chat.
We'll see it on the replay. Yep.
Gianni put a lot of light into a lot of answers in here, too. So
Mhm.
Gianni helped us out.
Yeah, so I'm looking
Gianni's
forward to
great
going back.
for the chat.
Yeah. All right.
So just as an advertisement for next time, we're going to move into the actual wedding, which is beaming with cultural stuff. So that'll be interesting. So please, look out for that. And we'll try to do these on Sunday this time. It sounds like it works. A lot of people here, a lot of people tuning in.
You guys want me to go live or what? What do you want?
Yeah,
to
well,
do
let's see if you
after
want to go
this?
live
Hold on.
next. Take over.
This was the first. Let's call it a pilot.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna lock in an hour every time we do it. We'll go with an hour. It seems to be nice.
Right.
If we go over a little bit or we go under a little, depending on
we
the.
can go to 2-3 hours if you want. We don't have to have a time limit on it.
You're gonna lose people, but the depth.
You
of
got
this thing
interesting
determines.
stuff here. You don't lose nobody. We're teaching people.
That's right. Either we're teaching them.
We're teaching them. They're going to want to learn. I hope. I know. Some of the people around us, things I know.
They don't have 3 hours. They don't. Nobody has 3 hours and not.
I'm done. Great show, ALV.
All right, this was great, man. This is really good.
All right. Well, listen, I want to thank Thedu and Tommy for doing this. It
Anytime.
was a great experience, a great first swing at the bat, but bat here, and
Home
I
run.
thank everybody else who joined. It's useless without you guys. So thank you so much for joining us.
What was the chat number?
I'm sorry. What was that?
What do we get up to in the chat?
I think we got up to 25. From what I saw, it was 25.
I think more, a little more. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Arlene, meet me upstairs.
Just the
What?
beginning, slow and steady. We're gonna
Mhm.
get nailed this thing. Good.
Yep.
All right.
All
Very
right,
good.
guys. So everyone have a blessed afternoon and a good week coming up. Thindo, if you're going to go on next, by all means, take it over.
Yeah,
on your
maybe I don't know, just to kill another hour. Let me see how I feel a second.
All right.
All right.
All right, guys.
Everyone's entitled to a day off, Thindo. You could take a day
Nice.
off. It's okay.
Yeah, I'm going to the pool. I'm going.
I don't blame you.
Maybe I
All right,
will.
guys. Thank you so much,
All right,
everyone.
guys.
Have a great.
Excellent.
great
Good job.
Love you guys.
Very good. Ciao.
Bye-bye.
Bye.